Namaste. One of the things that all of us have to address at some point or the other in our life is this aspect of overcoming our resentment or letting go of some past pain we have had and being able to forgive others. This is an important topic because if we have to progress on in our life, not just spiritually but also to be able to be happy, we have to be able to forgive others. So there are two parts to this. One is the importance of forgiving others, and the second is how to actually do that, and can we do that at all? So the first part is fairly obvious, especially if you are on the spiritual path, that in order to be happy, we have to let go of the negativity towards others. Because it is not that they are actually going to suffer, it's more for ourselves because we are suffering. If we are harmonious within ourselves, if we are happy within ourselves, then we can actually be in an environment where others can also be happy. Otherwise, if we harbor negativity and ill will towards others, then they will also feel that negativity and you yourself will feel that. It's like kindling a fire in your house and expecting that it will not do any harm. So, there is also another aspect to that, which is that even if this person is far off, you're better off forgiving this person because your mental space then is unclouded. Your mental space is so much more free and open. There's also a karmic aspect connected to forgiveness. The first thing is when somebody says or does something which is negative or which is kind of self centered and harms others, then they are bound to reap the the result of that action. That is the karmic law, and nobody is above that. So, in order to for us to have to feel that we need to settle score or take revenge, it is actually not necessary because nature has its own way of bringing people to justice. So, in other words, that aspect that we hold on to when something happens to us, that we need to settle score, is actually founded on a certain desire for our own selves to protect ourselves or to win for ourselves. Of course, in some situation, we have to protect ourselves, we have to take action to make sure that people are not cheating us or harming us. But at the same time, if the action has already been done, or if it is something that you don't have much control over, then we're better off just letting it go and keeping goodwill and hoping that the person who has done this injustice will come to understanding. Like the famous quote of Jesus Christ, where he says, "Forgive them, for they know not what they do." We ourselves have made mistakes in the past. We ourselves have done things which we maybe will feel guilty about. So we know what it is to do something wrong, being led by uh, the lack of discernment in our own mind and in our own intellect. So why not we allow others also, give them that space to learn and progress from that. Another aspect which is related to this karmic aspect of reaping the results is that when some action has been done, physical or mental or verbal, it has a thought behind it, a certain intention behind it. And this intention is where we have some degree of free will. If our intention is pure, or if our intention is not negative towards others, then we will be more peaceful, because our intention um, is meant ideally for us to be happy and for everyone else to be happy. Now, from this intention, whether it is good intention or bad intention, our verbal and physical actions follow. So, when we harbor resentment towards somebody, we are actually having an intention of negativity towards them. So, from there, actually, even our verbal words and in our physical action, we may follow up. Or just this mental aspect of having negativity will reap back to us the negativity. So this is a more subtle working of the karmic law, where if we are holding on to negativity, we are sending out negativity in the world, then that negativity comes back to us. So considering this, in order to be free from this cycle, it is better to start with being positive. And if we can't be positive, to at least be neutral, to at least kind of come to an acceptance that that people who are doing wrong or who are done wrong to us have done it out of their unconscious or unintelligent actions. And at the same time, we can look at how we can create a positive environment for us and for everyone else, so that such negativity doesn't proliferate. The one other aspect of forgiveness or letting go of resentment is how to do it. And this is very important, because in general, when we look at religious connotations for forgiveness, they talk about the need to forgive and almost making it a compulsion for people to forgive. But it is not quite taught how the psychological process of how forgiveness can happen. So the first thing is that has an action or has a something to do, forgiveness is not something that we can actually do. What I mean by this is forgiveness is an action that has to come from our heart. And no matter how much we try to force it using our will or our thinking, that forgiveness has to kind of come from within us. Then it's complete and pure. In order to do that, we cannot force forgiveness to happen. But what we can do is create the conditions so that forgiveness can unfold from us. And the way to do this is first is right understanding. Just like how we reviewed this aspect of why forgiveness is important, similarly we have to stabilize in that understanding. The second is also a certain kind of understanding of our own limitations and of our own mental processes. Most likely, if we have harbored this negativity for a while, then there is a momentum of these thoughts. So when we see this person who has said something negative or done something harmful to us, then we cannot immediately forgive this person, because right within ourselves we harbor this thought of this person, the actions of this person, and this memory is not just in our brain, it is actually embedded within us deeply in our body as well. So sometimes that can be an obstruction to forgiveness. And in that case, we have to just rest with that understanding that I really have this intention to forgive this person. Although right now I may not be able to do that, I should, or eventually, in my mind at least, continue keeping on this thing that this person is acting or has acted in the past out of his lack of discernment and lack of understanding. So, from that point of view, we can at least come to some sense of peace within ourselves that we really want to forgive this person, although we are not able to do at this moment. Now, the second step in that is actually to find small ways through which we can express this forgiveness. Maybe we can at least communicate that to people around us that we intend to forgive this person. And we can even communicate to this person that although right now I don't think I can fully come to terms with it, but I do intend to forgive you. I do intend to go past what has happened. So that way, at least it is in our consciousness, in our day-to-day awareness. And the next part, the last part of unfolding of this process is at every moment, whenever these thoughts of negativity or the memory of some past arises, we actually have to drop it and learn to just abide in this present moment and hold on to our positive intentions in this present moment. Because that baggage that we carry from the past, we have to be able to drop it immediately and not kind of keep on perpetuating it in our own mind. So first thing is, every moment whenever we catch ourselves thinking negative about this person, then we have to learn to drop that completely, and then we are able to express it in our actions and allow ourselves, and rather forgive ourselves to if we are not able to completely follow up with that, but not give up this process of forgiving and letting go of our negativity and resentment towards others. There's one last point I would like to discuss about forgiveness, and this is from a non-dual perspective. Say when you're doing something, you're eating or you're talking, and your tongue gets stuck in between your teeth. You're not going to chastise your teeth, because the teeth is as much a part of you as the tongue is. So, in that sense, when we realize that in everyone there is this consciousness, there is one awareness, which is not different from you, then who is there who has really harmed, and who is there who is being harmed? There is really one entity as such. Although this understanding may not be something that everybody can subscribe to easily, but having some sense of unity consciousness, having some sense of bonding consciousness, that like there is this one uniting factor in all of us, can actually be helpful to not see the others as somebody who is distinct. Although temporarily we may get upset, or we may we may have to rightfully, because of our duty, say something strongly to another person. But the more we can actually harbor the sense of one consciousness, then forgiveness does not become such a big effort. It becomes a natural process which comes out of understanding. And this is the ultimate forgiveness. This ultimate forgiveness is being able to just drop this baggage, because not so much out of will, or not so much out of kind of having to work through intellectually all that, but it is just kind of settling in with our own awareness, with our own understanding, and understand and letting go of all that arises out of false understanding. Because this aspect of holding on to resentment and negativity arises from you can say a lack of understanding or mistaken understanding. When we realize the true nature of our being, when we realize the true nature of consciousness, then everyone is just an expression of that. So there isn't anything that we can say that this shouldn't happen, or this is something that has happened to me, because that me is not identified with this little me. Anyway, whatever makes sense for you, take that step, but work towards it. And I hope you'll be able to let go and find that peace and joy and happiness that comes from a heart that is forgiving and compassionate. Namaste.